Wagwan,
We are live.
We're back.
Back with the third iteration of this fucking video.
Bro.
Yo, we just been going through the most.
We've been going through the most.
Absolutely rolling in that first video because of some fucking offside argument that we will get back into.
We will get back into it. But look, let's focus up this time.
Okay.
Third time,
the NLD. Let's go again. It's so weird having Judy talk about this shit all the time.
Okay. So basically, we split Spurs up.
Yeah,
there's no other ways. This man was praying for our downfall.
Yes, I definitely
like
was.
a Muslim during Ramadan. We didn't give you an inch.
Nah, you see, I told you we haven't had this chance to pray for the top team's downfall because we didn't have anything to gain from it. But now that we are where we are, you know what I mean? Now we can start looking like this. Now we can start wishing bad on the teams above us.
No, fuck off.
Crazy, bro. How things have turned around.
I've only been supportive towards you.
No, that is a bunch of bullshit.
And loving.
He's chatting shit to that of his team.
No,
100%. You know and I know. We've been on this journey together and we've seen how it's been going.
I've only been supporting and loving, and I feel like he should just return fairly. Do you know what? On the side of the other day, so I'm going to tell you my dream for the season. And you know, I'm not afraid to eat my words, but now, when was it yesterday on the gram, I was busy scrolling and I saw this video of Thierry, and Thierry Henry was just like sliding in. He kind of he did that slide against United, and then there was that goal of I can't remember who scored this goal against the Gunners. It was like a crazy celebration. At the end of it, it was like where Wenger was there for Fergie's final game and they took that picture together.
Yeah.
And then it was just that picture then it was that clip of Thanos where he's just sitting down after he did the snap.
Yeah.
It was like finally balance has returned to the world. And my greatest dream for this Premier League season would literally just be for Arsenal and United to be number 1 and number 2. Obviously Arsenal.
I also had that little fantasy, I'm not gonna lie to you. What was
to just bring peace back to the world.
I do. Take us back to the good old days.
The good time, man.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. But anyways,
okay, look.
The NLD.
The NLD, look. I think that they were just outclassed from front to back, bro. What was scary was the difference. It's like sometimes when I watch City play, City just move the ball different to other people. Yeah. These people can just take one touch in places where other teams take 2 touches. The speed at which they move the ball. Bro, it's just, I was shocked. We were away and we were just playing so fucking saucy. I thought we were at the Emirates, bro. Yeah. So, by God, that's all I can say.
Definitely good goal from Odegaard. You got Loris absolutely taking the piss in the North London derby.
And bro, now think about this. In the first game, that Jesus goal where he was just supposed to catch the ball and then they kind of drops it and Jesus taps it in. Yeah. It cost him that game. Yeah. Because at that time they were coming onto us like we were laying girl in the corner of the club blood. Yeah, those niggas were pushing.
They were just the Indian brothers.
My brother. You sexy? Your boyfriend, yeah, sexy. My blood. So I was just like, you go Loris is dead food. He's 36 now.
Is he 36 now?
He's 36. They need to replace him, and if all goes well and everything goes down, then you know there's.
Do they need to replace him? Do they need to replace? Like keep him as long as you guys want.
You know, in my opinion, he's been a servant to your club.
It ain't gonna hurt no feelings here.
Exactly. Look, then moving on to the key performers, and a lot of people will give Xhaka like a lot of praise. Xhaka played crazy well. Saka played crazy well. But I think the person that deserves the most praise by far is definitely the best player in the Premier League at the moment, Martin Asgard.
Martin Asgard.
Boy, he's balling out.
He's balling out. Tried to steal from Rome and 100%.
Jesus Christ, bro. He's so fucking silky on the ball. And I keep telling you, he's just a different tier on the ball. So he was balling out, and then my man, the number 1 nigga that gets his dick ridden by me on a weekly basis,
Saka.
Zinchenko. My God, Zinchenko, no? I'm gonna tell you now, there's no planet. And hindsight is always 2020. There's no planet where I wanted Sandro Martinez anymore. now I look back at it and I'm like, the gods aligned.
But to be fair, you'd be in different position also.
No, we would play him left back.
You would have played him left back. I feel like you maybe wouldn't have gotten the best out of him there.
Regardless, he just does not have the ability on the ball. And he's got great ability on the ball, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He's got great ability on the ball, but literally he's just, Zinchenko's just in a different tier.
I wouldn't say, obviously, I'm like Elson bias. I wouldn't say he's in a different tier. I'd say Zinchenko has different pedigree because of.
I'm not like attacking. I think that Martinez is in a different tier in terms of defending, but what Zinchenko has allowed us to become, Martinez could never do.
He's a better fit, I'd say.
He's a better fit, and he allowed for another dimension to our play. So for me, I look at the team and how complex your team is. So how many things you can do that the opposition will need to stifle. So let's say, for instance, United's a big counter-attacking team. If you play a low block, it's hard for United to break down. You know, so that's the problem. But if United were a good counter-attacking team, but then also United were a good pressing team on top of that, that's now a second layer on it. Then after a pressing team, you maybe switch play often. That's also now another layer, something like that. But Zinchenko, bro. So technically, what happens is whenever Arsenal have the ball, we have Xhaka sitting so deep up, so he pulls his midfielder to the edge of the box. We have Odegaard having 2-3 people run after him, pulling him to the other edge of the box. And then Zinchenko drops in next to Partey. So we basically create a 4-man midfield. And we are one of the few Premier League teams to actually play a 3-man midfield. So we go from being in the rare position where we play a 3-man midfield to being in the even rarer position where we are the only team to have a 4-man midfield. And bro, it really shows. And fuck, on the ball is just so fucking crispy. So crispy.
And I think also, I've seen that with City. And I know obviously Arteta was Pep's assistant coach. And I've seen it with City before where they've done that specific thing where they've used their wing backs to kind of tuck in and create an extra midfield or two or whatever. And I think that also plays into the fact that Arteta and Zinchenko had worked together before, and under Pep's control, and they've probably taken a few things from Pep, like from that winning streak, and brought it over to like Arsenal when he came over. So I think that it adds a lot of value where he's come from and what he's learned and his mentality as well. I think that's those intangibles that you can't really account for when you're buying a player. You know what I mean? I think he checks those boxes like.
Where's this wisdom coming from? Who's wise names?
See, I'm out here.
What the fuck is this?
I'm out here, but I'm out here.
And I think it was also a double effect, a double entendre.
Double entendre, absolutely.
That Cancelo is really good, but Cancelo is really good going forward. So he's more of that overlapping fullback. Whereas Zinchenko's more of the inverted fullback, and they haven't filled that role. And you can see it in their play. Because I didn't appreciate what Zinchenko was doing because I didn't know what Zinchenko was doing.
We got under the radar because obviously City's a gigantic club.
And I've seen him do it before at City, and I was just like, fuck, this is a weird left back. I always thought Zinchenko was a waste man. I just thought.
I wouldn't say that.
No, to be honest, I thought he was just a fucking 78 rated player in their team, making cack with a big I don't have a problem.
He doesn't have pace. He doesn't have pace. Doesn't have agility. He's a waste man.
He's a waste man. He can't tackle. Like, City's team is so perfect. I just have no left back. Fuck. And I was so pissed about it for so many years. And now that I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game. You know, that's the best thing I can say.
Down to those things you can't see. You know what I mean? There are those things that you can't see in a play. You can only really see it when he comes and he shows like what he can do and what he can do. And your specific system.
And obviously, like, I'm looking at it with a different set of eyes. Before, like, when I watch a player play, I really do try to remain impartial, but I'm not emotionally charged. You know, like if I watch like, let's say it's a United player, I can give you a very honest opinion on a United player because I'm not emotionally into it. Yes, I do have my bias against. I do have my bias against United. No, I do have my bias against United, but I can very honestly tell you. Maybe my wording will be more vivid than other people's word. So I would maybe more employ some keywords such as dog shit, dead food, like cut like that.
Descriptive words.
Very descriptive, powerful words, but in essence I can see how a player fits into your system. I have an idea of what Ten Hag's trying to do now. And I still think you saw a couple of about 18 months away from at least seeing what he wants to do. I think he's making the best with what he's got right now, but I have the ability to look at a player and see what he's trying to do and see if it's fit. You know, so Zani,
Then it's a pause, you said?
Sun is a big dub, bro.
Oh,
Sun is a big dub.
100%.
In the end of my Arsenal segment, what I would like to say is the Mikhailo Mudryk.
Oh, Mikhailo Mudryk. We didn't mention it in the first fucking video that
The
you
first,
showed.
not the second. But the Mudryk thing is a farce.
That's a fantasy.
So
That's a fantasy.
so you must okay no. So they've now come out and said no that Chelsea offered the same amount Arsenal did, but Chelsea's clauses was more attainable. You know, because Arsenal had a Ballon d'Or clause in there and all that for the bonuses.
Yeah.
And Chelsea just came in and obviously they were trying to dick ride, so they just gave them whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah.
Chelsea then put this player on an 8.5-year deal to try to spread out the financial fair play. Because how it works is with financial fair play, every year of the contract, when you put it onto your company's bill. So let's say for instance it was a 100 mil contract, it was a 4-year contract. Then every year 25 mil goes out of your club on your books. Does that make sense? 25 mil for the transfer plus the salary, whatever that is. If you put it over an 8-year deal, that 100 mil
It's
equates, it equates about 10 mil. But that's a little bit. So it's actually quite smart of a business idea to kind of cut your losses so that you have a lot more financial freedom. But very important, and one thing Manchester United has shown us is if you put a motherfucker on a long contract, 8.5 years, my blood, I don't know if that's particularly wise, Phil Jones.
It's definitely not a wise decision. And on top of that, it's the risk attached to the animal. Like we've spoken about this before. Look, the risk that you're putting on in terms of your odds and like what's in your favor when you purchase this man for animal. It's the same as purchasing someone for like 10 mil. Your odds are more or less the same, except you're paying more. He's 22, though. He's 22.
Yeah, he's 22.
If he flops,
39 appearances in his career.
Yes. And you're now putting an animal on this. That's a bet you're placing. And your odds are the same if you paid 5 mil for some fucking rando in fucking Ecuador or some shit like that.
In my opinion, when buying young unproven talent, the 5 mil and the 100 mil are the exact same.
Same odds, bigger risks.
Bigger risk, and that's just from a business standpoint. Look,
Fuck that business standpoint. We don't talk about business standpoints here. That's a very sensitive topic.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Am I serious that they came to come and hijack 100%? But I'm gonna tell you now. But I'm gonna tell you one thing now, very clearly. Listen to me, my boys. Chelsea will never get anywhere. I'm gonna tell you now. Chelsea's downfall. That's right. Because essentially, Chelsea are trying to be the big dogs of the transfer market. Todd Bowley's ego is what's driving the transfers. It is not logical. They did not need Mikhailo Mudryk.
Bro, they spent a shitload.
They have Raheem Sterling in the left wing, and they decided to go and spend 88 million on Mikhailo Mudryk when they needed a centre forward. I know they bought in Nkunku. I'm well aware of that, eh? But Nkunku is not enough blood. Y'all scored the least goals out of all of the big clubs. You know? Fucking focus up, blood. You used to have a midfield that is so aged. So that 88 mil, that was Declan Rice paid for. Think about that. That's Declan Rice on the spot for Chelsea. Who's Kante's got one and a half legs at this point. Kovacic is past his point. Jorginho's past his point. Chelsea's midfield is dead. No, but their midfield is dead. Go and get Declan Rice with that idea. But now you know what they're going to do? They're going to try to steal Declan Rice again in the summer. End up paying 120 mil for Declan Rice when we all know Declan Rice isn't worth it. I think 80 for Declan Rice is fair.
I think maybe 30.
Oh, whoa. Don't let United put that nigga.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to say. They're going down a similar path as United. I've seen this movie before and it always ends in tears. Just maybe larger scale. Because Todd Bowley's out here flexing the cash.
And I'm going to tell you now, Todd Bowley knows absolutely nothing about football. That is abundantly clear to me. And this isn't even like biased, eh? Just sitting in from a neutral. If my owner was moving like that, all the years we thought the Glaciers were the worst thing ever. Yet Todd Bowley just came out like the final boss on fucking Tekken. He's just that, what's that nigga's name? Akuma or some guy that.
Kenpachi, what's
bro,
that?
Bro is just,
some shit like that.
This bro is just on some other guy.
He's on some other guy.
But look, if you just think about it in hindsight, just what the fuck are you doing, bro? They've spent $500 million. Since he's arrived, they spent $500 million.
But the most also had that ban, so they've been dry for a few years. So I suppose it's some compensation.
I hear that now, but also everyone's so quick to talk about the shitstorm that is United. Oh, United's such a poorly run club. United's debt is 500 million. Yes, they do spend, but they spend within their means. It's got stupid spending, but still within their means. Chelsea, we know, is in 2 billion debt to a certain Russian sugar daddy. They are now raking up even. One day he's gonna come. Guys, remember what I tell you. That man didn't write off no debt. Because you don't write off no debt. He's waiting patiently till the sanctions are gone and then Papa is gonna come looking for his help. I promise. Someone's gonna have to dance. Todd Bowley's gonna have to do something.
You know, it's crazy on that topic of the 500. You know, the Glazers bought United for 700 more, and they only paid 200 more of that, and that 500 was the leverage buyout. So they've only ever bought United for 200 more.
Brilliant. They are
200.
brilliant.
They are selling us for north of 5 billion.
That's brilliant.
They bought us
The
for.
Glazers
They
are
bought us for a
geniuses.
Neymar. They bought United for a Neymar.
I'm gonna
bro.
tell you, the Glazers are brilliant.
Fuck those motherfuckers.
That's this leverage part that you're also angry about. It's fucking business, bro. They just made a great business decision. Why would I use my own money when I can use someone else's money and I make money? They fucking gods. They sitting with their dick in there and slapping that shit from thigh to thigh. They are gods.
Doesn't make it right. Just because they profited from it doesn't make it right.
It's right. It's right. It's just United are so emotionally invested in themselves. The prima donnas that are United supporters believe that the leverage part's got absolutely nothing to do with where their club is.
I disagree.
How? What does it have to do with it?
I disagree because I think it's a reflection of the mindset that the Glazers went into running our clubs with. They went into it with that kind of they went into that mindset that we were like a cash cow and they were out here milking cash from us. We were like an asset that was going to make them money. Fair enough, that was right on their part, but it wasn't exactly profitable on our part as a football club.
No. I said that's cap because think about it. If they had to pay that 700 more off, you still don't have nearly as much liquid fund available to do all the crazy shit.
The thing is.
So Daddy has made a way for you to have all your fancy toys that you cry about.
You can say what you want. You can say what you want, but the facts show we haven't won a title in fucking over 10 years.
But that's just
we're not a good team right now. We haven't been around well. Have we been around well?
No,
honestly,
not at all.
No, exactly.
Not at all, but that's got nothing to do with you just out here linking one thing to another because the fucking sun shines. That's why we have ESCOM problems. Motherfucker, what? That's got nothing to do with it. If you look at it from a neutral perspective, that's actually one of the better things they've done, leveraging your buyout.
I don't think so.
Because now you've had more funds available. Imagine you went through this period, no? And you weren't getting more than 30 mil spent on players. How bad would you have felt?
I think even if they had paid that debt, I think look, it's not at the direct cause and effect of the bad running of our club. It's a reflection of the mindset going into it. Therefore, their mindset and the way they went into running the club. That's how I
most liquid funds available. Like I say, you're emotional about it. That's why you're not looking. If you had the opportunity to do that, no? Financially, it is one of the best decisions to do. To leverage something, let that thing then pay itself off. And you sitting there without taking any loss, it's brilliant.
But anyways, besides the point. So okay, let's move on to United. First, we'll get into the Rashid thing last. And that's gonna make the most sense. Firstly, I want to talk about Jim Radcliffe, want to buy our club. I don't know how I feel about it. I want Dubai money, I want oil money. I want what City and Newcastle have. Straight, I want the best of the best, and I want them to be able to pour resources into our club. I don't care. I don't really care about, he was a boyhood fan, whatever. Who knows, maybe he runs the club very well. I want oil money. I want what City have, exactly, and I want it how they did it. And I know that's maybe unrealistic, but that is what I want. That's what I want for United. I want the best for our club. I want our club to prosper, and I want to be the best team in the league again. And I feel like the only way we'll be able to do that is if we match City start. I don't think we'll be able to do that with, let's say, an organic approach or so, even though, the organic approach is what we were yearning for. But I think oil money is what's gonna take.
I promise you, I was thinking about this morning before I went to sleep. And I was laying in bed and I was like, yo.
You should have done it fast.
No, I was just thinking about football in general and I was just like, this nice Chelsea. Chelsea started the whole fucking daddy's bank card strategy, and they want everyone wants to act like it's City. Chelsea started it.
Yeah.
Let's make it abundantly clear. Chelsea ruined football, and then City just came in and perfected ruining football, and then you now have Newcastle, who's also got daddy's credit card. You know, Liverpool's gonna get the Qatari owner now. You know, and the only thing I could think of this morning when I was laying in bed, I was like, the reason I love Arsenal Football Club is because Bukayo Saka came out of my academy.
Yeah.
The reason I love my team is because these are my boys.
Yeah.
You know, Arsene Wenger has his most famous statement: "We don't buy stars, we make stars."
Yeah.
And for me, that's the essence of football. That's the essence of football, truly. And I think that's the thing that brings the most joy. Look at the class of '92. There's a reason you saw the only ones with the class of '92. Yeah. If you could buy a class, it would be a different thing, because then City would the class of 2040. No, you can't buy a class. You can't buy a legend.
The legacy thing.
All the money in the world cannot buy you that. And that's why I strongly believe in the organic. And I don't even mind if everyone else goes the money route and Arsenal doesn't. If we compete, we play good football, and we continue trusting in our youth. We have the youngest manager in the Premier League, the youngest squad. Trust in the youth. Bring through the youth. Yeah. You will never have me anger. And you know what, young players, developing your youth always leads for more joy in your club. Because if you have youth, there's so much more leeway for them to catch on cup. Yeah. There's so much more joy that comes from youth. Yeah. Think about that rapist that you used to have there, Mason.
Yeah, he brought him so much joy.
Think about that. And he brought
himself so much heartbreak.
And he brought himself so much joy in that time as well. You know? So to be very honest with you, to be very straightforward, it's that you can't compare the two. I think it's nice to think, you want the money, but I think that's just the plain thing about it. To be honest, what you want is a class of 2023. I think that's what you want. Man.
I want success. I want success. And I want to be better than City. That's what I fucking care about. I want to be better than City. The way you hate Spurs, bro, if you were in this position and Spurs is the best team in the fucking league, you're the Spurs that you hate so much with a burning desire in your soul, bro, trust me, all that talk, and then you flip around real good. If you saw Spurs dominating every time, they was clapping your cheeks, and you was just sit there. Oh, here they go again. Champions League finals, Champions League fucking finishes in the fucking late stages of the Champions League. They out here have the best players. They're just clapping your cheeks. They're dancing on you. They're dancing on you. They're dancing on you when they beat you, bro.
Listen here to me.
Okay, yes.
Let's continue to the game. Okay.
So the game, absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. As I just said, once they went 1-0 up, I expected another cheek clapping. I expected another dance. I thought they were going to dance at us. But we showed great fight, great resilience. There was just something, I think Casemiro added such a big dimension to our midfield, and so many good outballs that it allowed us. Yes, we are a counter-attacking team. Yes, we are a midfield position team. But I can definitely see that there's more structure and a quickness to our counter-attack now. Because now we get the ball back, there's a 1-2 and there's a ball. There's a quick ball. Have you seen those road drive games? Yeah, there's a quick ball out and it's getting somewhere. You know what I mean? There's three.
Do you know what I think this is, no? I think this is Ten Hag's first season. Ten Hag sat down and he was like, look, I want to play a brand of football. I'm not going to play this brand of football this year, nor am I going to play it next year. So what's the best brand of football I can get success from now? And I think it's this. I think it's this. This is the refined Ollie. You know, it's an Ollie with someone that actually knows tactics and movements and half spaces and how to move the ball. And obviously, you also have better quality players. Casemiro has taken this up a massive level. I think Rashford is still just a form player. Rashford's going to be dog shit again. You know, we've seen it now. How many peaks does Rashford have? And then he just goes dead.
The thing is, he's only really gone dead for this long period. Before that, he's just really kind of like incrementally improved.
No, I think what Rashford have you been watching? I've watched dead food Rashford, then I've watched good Rashford, then I've watched dead food Rashford, and I've watched. He's a really.
It's only in the past 2 years. It's only in the past 2 years. Before that, Rashford had always every season he had improved on his goal tally. There was, I think the season before, last season was the first season that he had gone so low. And I think it took him a while to look. I was Rashford out for the stage, bro. I just think it took a while for him to get out of that.
Let's fucking get straight into it. Me and this man have been arguing for days.
Days and days.
About the
Days and days,
first
as we
goal.
do.
And I'm going to be very honest with you, eh? Arguing with Neymar was like trying to argue with a brick. And not any brick, like a brick laying out in the street, a ghetto ass brick. This motherfucker takes in no external stimuli, he just wants to win. He doesn't take in fact anymore, he just wants to win, as I do. But
I was going to say, this is a monologue about himself as well.
I've literally shown him the picture where Rashford is edited out, and where you see a Kanji and where you see the goalkeeper. Every other United supporter has accepted that it was offside, but they take the dub. Ex-Premier League referees are like, it was definitely offside, but they take the dub. Yet Neymar still has some beautiful sky space theory about this. So please.
I don't have a beautiful sky space theory, but I've come across some new information. I've learned this now. Before I was really just arguing on the fact that it was pure bias, and I just felt like, you know what I mean, these kind of things can always happen in football. And I feel like when it happens to my club, absolutely I'll argue for it. All the time, I'll argue for it. Absolutely. But what I also found out is that that rule of when the player gets involved in play and he gets called offside is not the absolute rule. In fact, it is one of 4 rules. At sub points. The rule is broken down into sub points. So how it essentially works is when a sub point gets ticked off, if one of the 4 gets ticked off, it becomes a subjective offside. If all 4 get ticked off, it's an absolute offside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's down to the referee's decision in the moment. So let's say, for example, where you were standing like straight down the barrel from the incident, and the linesman was standing over there. So what the linesman saw was that Rashford was involved in the play. Absolutely, he was involved in the play, and he made a motion towards the ball from an offside position. So he ticked off 1 point there. So what the ref saw was that the Rashford didn't actually touch the ball, he didn't actually play the ball. So that didn't tick off that point in those 4 sub points. Yeah. So the ref had the reason to believe that there was a chance that he could have given the ball. And once the ref went over, I think it was Stuart Atwell, went over to the linesman, and they had the discussion. What happened was the linesman told the ref what he had saw and why he thinks it was offside, and that's why he raised the flag. And then the ref by himself decided, oh, yes, that's what the linesman saw. But what I saw...
This is the most cack I've ever heard.
Listen. But what the ref saw was that Rashford did not play the ball. So that gives him reason to make the decision that it's not offside. And that's why he gave it. However, because the ref made that decision in that moment, and he gave the goal, VAR could not call it back because it's the ref's decision. Because you can't call it back if the ref decides not offside. VAR can't call it back. VAR can only call it back.
VAR can 100%.
They can't. If it's always the refs. It's always the ref's final decision. That's what I also heard from a past referee.
It is the refs. The ref's final
That's his
decision.
final call.
But firstly, that hypothetical bullshit you just came up with. The ref he doesn't know what the ref asked the linesman. Look at the bullshit he's saying.
I literally heard from one of the ex-refs what exactly happened.
No one knows what they said, so how can they assume? They are assuming what he said. They don't know what that conversation was. So how can you sit here and tell me, oh, that's what you went to go ask? No.
That's what that was the conversation.
That wasn't the conversation because no one knows what the conversation was. Because they weren't there.
Okay.
So you created a conversation.
I'm not creating a conversation.
100%. You just created a conversation to fit your narrative. This is the reality of it, right? If Rashford was not there, this is how I define interfering with play. If he was not there, would the goal be possible? No. Done. Was it the right call at the time? The ref backed himself. 100%. That's the decision on the field. That is the final decision, and the score is 2-1.
Yes,
was it the correct decision? No. Done.
So
it's quite straightforward.
It's not straightforward. It's actually complex.
No,
it's actually
it's
more
very
complex
straightforward.
and more nuanced than you can understand.
No,
because you are not a ref.
No, the thing is not, I've read that set 4 rules. The first time we had this argument, I had already read these rules.
Yes.
And you still took the same stance. So in ignorance, this was still your stance. So I had the said information that you've now learned 4 days later. And I'm still telling you that the stance is still the same. If Rashford was not there, Akanji plays the ball, Edison plays the ball. There is no moving that. There is no changing that.
That's completely subjective.
No, it's not subjective. Because if he was not there, the threat does not exist. It can't be subjective when that is reality. You can say it was subjective if Rashford... Look, let's not go down this rabbit hole. Listen, here's the thing. Let's not go down this rabbit hole. The main point is, score is 2-1.
Yeah.
Well done to United. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
You see what happened? You see what happens with these things?
Thank you so much for tuning in this week.
Absolutely.
GGs.
We'll catch you
Love
again 100%.